up, chest up, always good posture. Because if that's your habit when you ride daily, what's going to happen when you go in the show ring? That's what's going to happen. I'm one of those people that believes everything that I do when I train a horse, even if he's at the Grand Prix level, everything I do at home should be something I could do in the show ring. That's why there's a big debate about riders that ride horses really very over-round and deep with their nose on their chest. And I personally don't believe in that because for me, it would be very difficult to ride a horse around very, very over-round and over-deep and then think I'm going to get him up in his neck and properly in the right position to go in the ring. I don't know how I would do that. I guess some riders are able to, but my experience with really top riders, for the most part, is they don't do that. Wendy, I like the look of that drop there. I want you to get your rein just a little bit shorter, your hands together, and look at me. None of this, none of this. Here, sit up, upper body up, riding into your contact. And we have a relative, this arena, I'm guessing, is about the length of the dressage arena, but it looks like it's about 25 feet too wide. One of the things also in training horses, particularly young horses, is don't ride right on the fence. You riders should all stay like 1 meter. You should have 3 feet from your knee to that fence, because what I find with developing horses is they tend to balance themselves against the wall. A rider rides right there. Look at when you go to the average boarding barn where the track is. It's right next to the fence or right next to the kickboard. I want the horses to stay a little bit off the track and straight on their own because of the rider, not because he's balancing himself against the wall. Wendy, that looks great. Keep your contact. Jody, it's interesting, as you go on and trot with him, he gets more round and more settled, doesn't he? So, you're proving the point that forward fixes everything, right? You go more forward, your horse ends up more round. I still feel like he's a little high in the neck, and I would like you to work a little bit with that inside wrist. I don't want you to make him short in the neck, but I want you to have him reach down in front. He's got to reach down now. And I realize, look at smart riders don't, you don't throw the loose reins when you know he's going to look at the crowd. That's smart riding. Wendy, I'd like to put your chin up. And Helen, you need to shorten the rein a little bit. And you need to look at me. You're a little bit, for me, tipped a little too far forward over his withers. If he was 4 years old, I would say, yes, it's okay to kind of take your equilibrium over his withers. But you're on the way. You said you're eventing training, right? Your next step is preliminary, right? So you've got to start to put a horse in a little more of a position that he can learn to collect. I would like your rein a little bit shorter. I would like your hand together. And when, Helen, when I watch you, I feel a little bit of this sometimes. I feel a little bit like you're reaching out with your hand like that. Or with a horse that's a little older, I would rather you keep your shoulders up, you keep your elbow bent. He doesn't need to be rounder, he just needs to go more forward into a more of an adult horse contact. Like that. And I don't want his chin be further. I just want you to have a clearer contact and then close your leg and ride forward into the ride wheel. And somewhere when you're ready, all riders change direction. Jody, I like the roundness on this horse very much now. Like, he looks to be really good at the way he's wanting to step over his back into the ride. Now you have to go to that next spot, like I've been telling Wendy about, elbows bent, chin up, chest up. Think about what Helen Londa-Hannenberg looks like riding Damon Hill, and emulate it every day. If that's, we discussed it, you want to take it as far as you can, right? Ride him, and your posture should be like an international Grand Prix rider every day. See, that's such a different look for you. Your chest is up, your elbow's better, your whole connection is better. Jody, I want you to keep your fingers closed on the reins. Fingers closed on the reins. Never, and Wendy, the same thing. Sometimes I see you have a little bit open hand. There's an old saying about an open hand is a hard hand and a closed hand is a soft hand. And I will see riders frequently ride around with the reins in their fingertips and they think they're being real soft with the horse. When you're soft with a horse, it should be through the bigger joints of your arm. It's through the elbow and the shoulder and the wrist. Like when I give the rein to a horse, I don't give by letting the reins go out through my hands. I give by giving my shoulder and elbow so I remain flexible in these joints. When you look at me, when you ride, I want you to make sure that your hands are vertical and you don't get your fingers like this. Elbow bent and your wrist vertical. And then, when I need to make a horse a little supple, and like if he's a little strong in the hand or he's a little stuck, what I do to make a horse supple is look at me, I use my wrist like this. I use my wrist. I don't pull on their mouth, I work the connection a little bit in my wrist. It makes a huge difference. We don't want to pull a horse around, right? We want to make him supple in the connection, and then we want to push him around from signed it. Jody, can you work a little more